District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, Sheriff Todd, Baxter. My name is Christopher Chichester. I've never committed a crime. This is the Freedom of Information Law, dated February 24th, 2021, that you are legally obligated to comply with as I continue to demand information from your criminal, corrupt District Attorney's office and Sheriff's office, and you will refuse to comply with every single document. And the hypocrisy from you two criminals is disgusting, because when you demand information in cases, you better acquire that information. I'm demanding information from you as a citizen and a voter, and you've refused for 18 plus months. Now, Todd, before I demand this information from you, I must tell you not to have sex with the jail, especially Monroe County Jail right here in Monroe County, because you told the Democrat and Chronicle here on January 2nd, 2018, this is the story where you're walking around with your groupies in Rochester right after you were sworn into office, and your narcissism is on display, that pathetic, disgusting need for attention that your bald head has. And this is where you say, I have a passion for jails. So, Todd, since you have a passion for jails, don't have sex with Monroe County Jail as I demand information from you using the Freedom of Information Law. Do you understand me? Does the bald head of Todd Baxter understand that? And Todd, as I demand this information, let me check time here. Yes, you know what time it is, Todd? It's time for you to allow another inmate to escape from your custody, such as 19-year-old pregnant Aaliyah Burden that you allowed to escape from Strong Memorial Hospital. What's the name of your employee that allowed her to escape? This is where there's no accountability for you. What's his name or her name? What are the names of the employees if there are multiple employees? You will have to answer these questions when I contact the United States Department of Justice. You can ignore me. I'm just a citizen and a voter demanding information. I will contact the United States Department of Justice, and I have a series of questions for the employees of the United States Department of Justice to ask you for how Aaliyah Burden escaped to a parking garage. I'll contact the office of Andrew Cuomo with the same series of questions. You must account for how you allowed her to escape to a parking garage. Todd Baxter, what's the name of the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee that allowed 19-year-old pregnant Aaliyah Burden to escape? And what's going through that bald-headed fanaticism of you and $0 Michael Rather and Kathleen Miller and William Tadeo and Scott Alberti is I should be arrested. As this YouTube is at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. It's exactly what you're thinking, because you're a Kool-Aid drinking Jonestown. I want these psychopaths to get here and bang on the door and scream my name. You see that YouTube? It's attached called Hatred. That's what you did to me. I'm going to send that to the United States Department of Justice. I'm backing up all my YouTubes now because I don't know it's about the security of this Google product. So, what did you think about your psychopaths banging on my door? I'm not aware I'm supposed to be anywhere. I'm especially not aware, bald-headed, wig-wearing Polomets, that I'm supposed to be in Penfield Town Court. There you are outside screaming my name. One person is attempting to deliver me to jail, and that's you, bald-headed, wig-wearing Polomets. Pay attention. I've said this repeatedly. If I'm in front of you, I will unleash a scream that you will never forget, and I will not stop screaming when I'm in front of you. When I'm in there, in front of you, one person, Sandra Doorley, is attempting to deliver me to jail. This disgusting, despicable, revolting 70-year-old hack, Polomets, and fuck you, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal. I want to be absolutely clear what I'm telling you. I will never go into Penfield Town Court. I'll have to be forcibly deposited in front of you. And if I'm in front of you, I'll be screaming at you. If it's not you and it's you, James P. Mully Jr., I'll scream at you too. And that's going to be the scream of innocence. So, Todd, when I demand information from you, open your mail. I'll show this to the United States Department of Justice. This is your laughable, pathetic existence. Refused when I was demanding the payroll over and over and over. And you knew it was me. And that's why you wrote refusing it's certified mail. So, Freedom of Information Law. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime. The internal disciplinary records of documentation for employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, as Sheriff Todd K. Baxter has reprimanded, terminated, or disciplined in employment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. What's the answer to that question, you bald-headed stooge? Do you fire employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? And what's the process? Do you discipline employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? What's the process? In the military, there was a Uniform Code of Military Justice, and that is the code that crashes down upon the heads of soldiers that are in violation of the code in any number of ways, especially with the courts martial in the Article 15. How do you discipline your employees? Should you discipline Andrew Reale, charge me with harassment second I'm sitting in the back seat of his vehicle? Should you discipline Shannon Meyer, writing a warrant for my arrest for walking through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times? Should you discipline Don Benedetto, hiding in the bushes across from Sanders Farm Drive on August 30th, waiting for me to come out of the residence? You, Donna, paid $85,000 to walk onto the private property of my neighbor and hide in the bushes to concoct a crime for me that I explained repeatedly on my back porch. Yeah, you heard that right, bald-headed Todd Baxter. You $79,000 Andrew Reale, charging me with harassment second when I'm sitting in the backseat of your vehicle after Jermaine Bennett snapped my head back at the gym. Who, Andrew, am I harassing sitting in the backseat of your vehicle? You, Shannon Meyer, paid $67,000 to write a warrant for my arrest for this, but not anybody else. People are walking through this parking lot every day. You sick hack, Shannon Meyer. Why is Shannon Meyer still employed? She's the first one you should be fired. That should be fired. The first employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, because you don't fire people. That should be fired is Shannon Meyer. Fire her ass, then fire Andrew Reale's ass, and then fire Don Benedetto's ass. You know why? For your own self-preservation. Because if these hacks, these nauseating, sickening, disgusting criminals are doing this to me, they're going to do this to other innocent citizens. I'm 55 years old. In the 30 years since I was honorably discharged as a 22-year-old Sergeant E5 from 2nd Squadron, 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, I got one speeding ticket. I've always known the difference between right and wrong. I'm going to say this again. You can turn on disciplinary records of documentation employed to monitor the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, and Sheriff Todd K. Baxter's reprimanded, terminated discipline employment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office at your Jonestown, you bald-headed Kool-Aid drinking stooge. Same document for Sandra Doorley with the same language for the District Attorney's Office. Pay attention, $129,000 Perry Duckles. Does a prosecutor talk in court? What are the names of your prosecutors that stand there in total silence, first before 7-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr., and that's before fossil Paula C. Metzer? And you, Perry, are continuing to refuse. Just like #1 king in New York, District Attorney Sandra Doorley's refusing. You're refusing to tell me the name of your employee in a public proceeding. Should you discipline an assistant district attorney and prosecutor who stands in total silence as an innocent man is delivered to jail? The answer is yes. And the answer from you, Perry, and the other Jonestown Kool-Aid drinkers, the district attorney's office, we don't know what you're talking about. The internal disciplinary record of documentation employees the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, the District Attorney Sandra Doorley, a district attorney has disciplined, reprimanded, or terminated employee at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. What's not to understand? What do you fail to understand about this language? Does everyone at the district attorney's office comport themselves with the highest degree of ethics, character, integrity? I'm telling you, the answer is no. So what's the disciplinary process? You have no disciplinary process. What's that say? You, Sandra Doorley. You have no disciplinary process at all. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter. I have the payroll that's a year old. I'm going to take the new payroll when I require them. You better send it to me, you bald-head stooge. I'm going to pair the new payroll with this payroll. I'm going to write to YouTube. I'm going to put the raises on YouTube for your employees. And this is called disclosure. And this is why you will lose re-election. The people in Monroe County are going to be enraged by the raises. If you got your $100,000 cops on there, you're giving your $100,000 cops $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 raises. You got your $80,000 cops that you're bringing to $100,000 and paying them more than $100,000. That's a fact. And the confirmation of it is going to be when I get the new payroll, if I get the new payroll. Your entire nauseating, bald-headed existence is tax dollars, you fascist, stooge, and criminal Todd Baxter. Comply with this Freedom of Information Law document and send me the payroll. Speaking of which, speaking of a criminal, the names and salaries of every public employee at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. I'm going to take this payroll at your little Dairy Queen here. When I acquire the new payroll, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to put all the raises on YouTube. For example, Amanda Bowling, $108,338. Are you Amanda Bowling? First $100,000 salary. That's why I read it. Are you still paid $108,338? Do you, Amanda, now exist at $120,000 or more? What's the answer? And the answer from Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter is I should be arrested for reading your name and your salary on YouTube. How ludicrous does that sound? That's exactly what you're thinking. It is easy to activate your fanaticism. When you're already a fanatic, it just has to be activated. Look at that YouTube I call hatred. I'm not aware I'm supposed to be in Penfield Town Court. I'm not aware I'm supposed to be anywhere. I'm a free man. Liberty is the soul's right to breathe, and I have the soul's right to breathe, and I will never walk in to the suffocation that is Penfield Town Court and have bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Messer impose a bench trial upon me that's not a trial to declare me guilty without a jury. Why is there a jury in Penfield Town Court? King of New York ain't #1 Sandra Doorley, because that's the way you want it. Assembly line of guilt, you can send defendants in there. The facts and circumstances don't matter. Guilty every time. Send me the payroll. Attorney's office, sheriff's office. YouTube's at 10 minutes. I'm waiting for you psychopaths to get here. If there's a loud banging to my left, Sheriff Todd Baxter's fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths, and psychopaths are on. That's where there's no accountability. What are their names? There's one guy that led them here because he's screaming my name. That my neighbor that's attached to me heard. My neighbor's across the street. What's his name? You will refuse to tell me his name, even though he's here. He's the one that led them here. That's my guess, because he's the one that starts to scream first. Got the guy at the front door. What's his name? There were at least, I'm told, I don't know, this could be wrong, but I'm told by my neighbor, at least 10 of you here. But the two I'm interested in is the one banging at the door and the one screaming my name. There's no accountability because you know you will shield them with anonymity. And they know that they can be anonymous. That's why they act like animals at the Monroe County Sheriff Office, you animal, Todd Baxter. The cost of overtime, time and a half, well paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Does that guy screaming my name of fanaticism is paid overtime? When that guy screaming my name of fanaticism reaches the 41st hour, is he paid overtime? When that psychopath banging on my front door reaches the 41st hour, what's he paid, you bald-headed stooge? The cost of overtime, time and a half, well paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. When your suit-wearing desk jockeys reach the 41st hour, how do you pay them? What's the answer? King of New York ain't #1 Sandra Doorley. Are you paid $203,000 and that's it? Or if you, King of New York ain't #1 Sandra Doorley, work a 41st hour, are you paid more? I was thinking about that last night, about you, and about you bald-headed stooge, Todd Baxter, $132,599. Are you bald-headed stooge, Todd Baxter, at $132,599 paid that money, or are you, as the duly elected sheriff, paid more? Are you Sandra Doorley, King of New York ain't #1 Sandra Doorley, paid $203,089 throughout the year, or when you reach your 41st hour, are you paid more? Because those salaries, I'll have to check, are set in statute. So, please be exceeding the salary that's set in statute with overtime. Please. What's the answer? Are you, Sandra Doorley, paid beyond the statute? That is, I want to double check the salary for you, $203,089. Are you, Sandra Doorley, paid $203,089, $365, 24/7, or are you paid more when you work a 41st hour? Todd Baxter, $132,599. Are you paid $132,599, 365 days a year, 24/7, or are you paid more? It's the answer to that question. Overtime, time and a half, well, pay beyond that 40th hour, enrages taxpayers and voters. I've seen lists of overtime employees when I worked as a public employee in Albany for the governor majority leader, and it was disturbing what certain state employees were being paid at the agencies, for example, at the Department of Labor. Department of Labor was a haven of nepotism. This is a long time ago when I worked in Albany. And a haven of nepotism, I'm going to tell you what a haven of nepotism is. It's right here. This is a haven of nepotism. That's the Monroe County Sheriff Office payroll. Isn't that right, Kathleen Miller? Is Camille Miller your daughter? I don't know. But you should answer that question, Todd Baxter. Because the only reason why Camille Miller is paid, I think it's $11,000 at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, is because she's related to Kathleen Miller. Hypothetically, I don't know. Answer that question, you bald-headed stooge and criminal, Todd Baxter. Freedom of Information Law. The cost of taxpayers of Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter expended taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits fair to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 19 $7,964. Shannon L. Morse, $79,607. Are you Shannon L. Morse being sexually harassed? Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter. I hope you're not. Bonnie M. McDowell, $36,201. Are you Bonnie M. McDowell being sexually harassed? The Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter. You, Bonnie M. McDowell, are more vulnerable to a male sexual predator. And there are male sexual predators at the Sheriff's Office. It's guaranteed. It's a lock. That's a Super Bowl III, Joe name it. Guaranteed lock that there are male sexual predators at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. You, Bonnie M. McDowell, at $36,201 are more vulnerable to a male sexual predator than Shannon L. Morse at $79,607. That's because she is paid $43,000 more than you. Just the way it is. The cost of taxpayers for Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley expended taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits fair to apply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Lori Mastrocolo, $17,746. Are you Lori Mastrocolo being sexually harassed? The Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley. I hope you're not. Jennifer Kennedy, $87,429. Are you Jennifer Kennedy being sexually harassed? The Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley. I hope you're not. You, Lori Mastrocolo, at $17,000 are more vulnerable to a male sexual predator at the District Attorney's Office of Sandra Doorley than Jennifer Kennedy. For the simple fact that Jennifer Kennedy is paid $70,000 more than you. Jennifer and Lori, do you enjoy working at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office? Does Sandra Doorley create a workplace environment that respects your dignity, your character, your ethics, your decency? What's the answer to that question, District Attorney Sandra Doorley? Lie to me, Todd Baxter. Lie to me, freak show Sheriff Todd Baxter. Lie to me, the freak of Monroe County, Todd Baxter. This is the freak show Freedom of Information Law document that I wrote that no innocent citizen ever should have to write because of you, freak show Todd Baxter. Freedom of Information Law, the cost of a surveillance device purchased with taxpayer dollars by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter and affixed to a building in 2025 Penfield Road to monitor Christopher Chichester at 26 Sanders Farm Drive walks through the parking lot next to the building. This right here, freak show Sheriff Todd Baxter, is your freak show surveillance device that you bought with taxpayer dollars. Freak show Sheriff Todd Baxter and affixed to this building at 2025 Penfield Road. That's it right there. Can't see it in the light. I've showed this multiple times, 100 plus times. You just drive down Penfield Road, make a left, go through the parking lot here, and you'll see it. You Lori Mastrocolo at the District Attorney's Office, you can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Why is that, Lori? You, Jennifer Kennedy, can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Why? Do you, Lori and Jennifer, have different civil and constitutional rights than I do? Are you, Lori and Jennifer, especially protected American, where you won't be arrested for walking through this parking lot? And I will? What do you think about that lunatic fringe descent on my life, Lori and Jennifer? You, Shannon Morse, because of Shannon Meyer, can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Why is that? You, Bonnie M. McDowell, can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Why is that? You'll have to answer these questions, you bald-headed students, Todd Baxter. When I contact the United States Department of Justice, I guarantee the employees of the United States Department of Justice and the Office of Andrew Cuomo, the thought, when I send it between 500,000 pages, perhaps more than 1,000 pages, will be, I've never seen a dissent on the civil and constitutional rights like this dissent on Chris Chichester and Penfield. I've never seen anything like that. That's what I believe that they will conclude. Because this is the sickness of your office. This is the corruption of your office. Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley. You lied about this too. Because I'm walking through the parking lot for the 4,000th time, and this psychopath named Rosh is here screaming at me. a 50-year-old man living with a 70-plus-year-old mother. Each of these have no lives whatsoever. They live over here in darkness. And the reason why you never heard my name is because my dentist, Dr. Gloria Nichols, was in this building at 2041 Penfield. And she would see people walk through this parking lot all day long. My neighbor, again today, I used to do this. He does this at least twice a week. He will stand here because he's a runner and I'm a runner. And he will sprint up to the trees back here, walk back down, sprint up here and walk back down. And you know the verification of my neighbor doing that, you bald-headed stooge, Todd Baxter? You could just look at the video from your surveillance device right there. And you could see my neighbor doing those sprints. If I was to walk outside and stand alongside my neighbor, because we've run the same races and talk about the races and running, and he's a terrific guy. If I was to do the same sprints with him, you would arrest me and not him. Lunatic fringe. Lunatic fringe is right here. I love this photograph. This is the certification of your lunatic fringe, this picture. And there are 500,000 other examples of the certification of your lunatic fringe. Lunatic fringe, Todd Baxter. The cost of taxpayers for photography session approved by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter to photograph 10 public employees underwater in a pool. Yeah, you heard that right. Here they are right here. Where was this taken? What's the name of the pool in Monroe County? They got in wetsuits. Is this the dive team for Lake Ontario? Do you have a dive team for Lake Ontario? Do you have any type of unit where Monroe County Sheriff Office employees wear wetsuits and will investigate crimes? Because obviously people that commit crimes will attempt to dispose of evidence in water. I've seen this on these television shows like Forensic Files or Dateline Secrets Uncovered, which is where you were, Sandra, Doorley, sweetheart, talking about the murder of Craig Rideout in order to inflict pain on the people in the life of Craig Rideout that loved him. What are you doing on that repulsive show, Sandra Doorley, talking about the murder of Craig Rideout by Laura Rideout and Paul Tucci? Stay off those shows, you pathetic diva, as I interrupt this freedom of information law, because it's a disgrace for you to be on those shows. So, where was this picture taken? Are you down here, Todd, baby? Are you down here? What's the purpose of it? I'm told the training exercise, a lie. You can't be honest with anything. Your inclination, your impulse is to lie, and this is a lie. Have you seen Stars and Bars, Todd Baxter? Symbol of segregation and racism in the South? Do you know, Todd Baxter, that Atlanta, Georgia is not in the state of New York? How familiar are you with the state of New York, Todd Baxter? Do you know if you go to Montauk, New York, the easternmost part of Long Island, drive from it to Plattsburgh, up near Clinton County, and then drive from Plattsburgh to Buffalo, and then drive from Buffalo on the New York State Thruway, through Rochester, Syracuse, and arrive in Albany, you're not going to see Atlanta, Georgia. Do you know that, Todd Baxter? Because the cost of a hotel and plane ticket for Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee Ryan Fisher attended the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia on February 3rd, 2019 with his canine dog, Lola. This is him right here. What's he doing in Atlanta, Georgia? What's the reason? Hotel, plane ticket, the care and feeding of his dog. Was it for a conference? Did you, Ryan Fisher, go to a conference where you cops sit around and whine about the job and demand approval? What's he doing here? Welcome to your election defeat. And you want people to know about it. Did you write this tweet, Kathleen Miller? Did you write this tweet, William Tadeo? Did you write this tweet, $0, Michael Rather? Did you write this tweet, Scott Alberti? As we get ready to watch the Super Bowl, we're grateful to the men and women side to keep fans and players safe in Atlanta, including MC Songs, Deputy Ryan Fisher, Canaan Lola. Deputy Fisher sent this photo from Atlanta. Thank you both for your service. Service? Where's the service? He's down there having fun. I will also demand soon, as soon as I term the language and the supporting documents, out-of-state travel for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. That's number one. And travel out of the county, because Albany has conferences that I've seen when I work for the governor majority leader in the legislative office building, which is next to the Capitol. And law enforcement officials will come to Albany and go to the legislative office building for conferences. And it's a joke. Every time it's a joke. So This is his out-of-state travel. I'm going to demand out-of-state travel from you. How many times have your employees been out of New York? And how many times have your employees been out of Monroe County? Because memo to bald-headed party-switching criminal Todd Baxter, there is no reason ever for a single employee of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to be out of Monroe County. This is it. How long did it take you, Ryan, to see this? The delusion of the stars and bars, because it says next to it, wisdom, justice, moderation. There's no wisdom, justice, and moderation in this flag. This is the flag. This is a hate symbol. You have, Todd Baxter, no wisdom, justice, and moderation because you're sending your employee to Atlanta, Georgia for a good time, for a junket. A junket enrages taxpayers. I want to see a voucher. If it's called a voucher with your signature on it. Is there a signature from you on a voucher for Ryan Fisher to receive a plane ticket to fly to Atlanta, Georgia, for Ryan Fisher to receive a hotel room reservations, for Ryan Fisher to receive boarding for his dog Lola? Is your signature on that documentation? If it is, welcome to your re-election defeat, you bald-headed stooge. This is the beautiful flag of New York. I used to see this when I was in the Capitol. Here, these scales represent fairness. Where's the fairness for me, Sandra? Doorley is your prosecutor, doesn't talk. The court. There's a blindfold. She's wearing a blindfold. Is justice blind? Sandra Doorley is justice blind for me. Sandra Doorley. This is a Phrygian cap that she's wearing. Excuse me. This is a Phrygian cap on that pole signifies freedom. Where's my freedom as an innocent man deposited in jail when the prosecutor doesn't talk? Tell your employees, Todd Baxter, 3 times a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., 5 different locations to show up, push-ups, sit-ups, 40 push-ups, 40 sit-ups, 2-mile run. That guarantees that they're in shape. You have employee after employee after employee that's overweight, not just by a little, not just by love handles, 5 pounds here, 10 pounds there. You have employees that are overweight, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, because I've seen it over and over and over. What are the physical training standards requirements at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter? You have none. Tell your employees to get in shape either on their own time or institute a physical training program so your employees can protect themselves and preserve their lives. Freedom of Information Law. Day in year, Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter rehired Michael Rather after his 20-plus year career with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office ended. So there you are, Michael Rather. Your career ended. After your glorious 20-year career writing speeding tickets. How many speeding tickets did you write, Michael Rather? And then you thought, I'm going to come out of retirement just like Michael Jordan. I'm going to wear 45 at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. And then I went to check the payroll here because I thought that you were a double dipper. You did your 20 years retired, so I wanted to see. Obviously, you're getting retirement paycheck. You collect a retirement paycheck right now, Michael Rather. And I went to the payroll, and Todd Baxter knows how to avoid this political liability in that he pays you $0 right here. That's $0. You can see right down every salary here, and then there's a blank spot. That's 0 right there, so you're not a double dipper. Are you paid money from the campaign accounts that Todd Baxter controls and has access to since he was elected in 2017? Are you paid private money to go into the Monroe County Sheriff's Office on 130 South Plymouth Avenue and work there? Because you're on the payroll for $0. What do you do? What is your responsibilities at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Because I believe that you're just a pathetic sidekick, that you're there for entertainment. You're not a vehicle, correct? You're a desk jockey. The name charge of every unit Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter's jail from January 2018 to February 24, 2020. Separate your nonviolent inmates from your violent inmates. Segregate your nonviolent inmates from your violent inmates. The fact that I have to tell this to your bald head is yet again confirmation of your corruption. I'm in there with 80-year-old Bob in a domestic situation with the woman he lived with. 80 years old. And he told me about it. It's again the sheriff's office putting the screws to him. Now, I'm not going to detail what it is, but he told me what it is, and I believe him too. You could cock crimes for innocent citizens. An 80-year-old Bob, and he went into detail. And there was a point, and I understand this too, where he was almost crying at what happened to him because of your employees. So the reason why I cite this, 80-year-old Bob is in there with the gang members. Do you know you have gang members at the Monroe County Jail? If you were asked by an employee of the United States Department of Justice, provide us a list of known gang members of Monroe County Jail. What's your answer? If you were asked by the employees of the office of Governor Andrew Cuomo, give us a list of your gang members at Monroe County Jail. Do you know you have gang members at Monroe County Jail? Todd Baxter, do you know you have gang members at Monroe County Jail? What's the answer? A gang member is MS-13, but a gang can form immediately where there are 10 criminals and thugs, and that's their gang. And gangs form within prisons and jails. They could be a gang form. These 10 guys can get together. That's a gang at the jail. Do you have gang members that were gang members before they went to Monroe County Jail? And are there gangs that were formed in Monroe County Jail? What's the answer from your bald head? And your answer from your bald head is I should be arrested. Does the prosecutor talk in court, Sandra Doorley? What's her name? Documentation for the case of Christopher Child, John P. Lenzer Jr. Pemberton Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? I'm at this podium without counsel. What do I need counsel for? I haven't committed a crime. I'm in front of 70-year-old John P. Lenzer Jr. I look to my left. I'm looking like this. I'm staring at her, and I'm waiting for her to accuse me of a crime. Harassment, second, criminal contempt. Well, I'm not harassing anyone. It's not criminal contempt to be outside my residence for 30 seconds. Not one word, Sandra Doorley. Total silence. What's her name, Sandra Doorley? Why are you refusing to tell me her name? Click reply and tell me your name. Send it to the residents, the email on the documentation. There's my email address. There's the address. Email address, address. What's her name, Sandra Doorley? Documentation for the case of Christopher Child for John P. Lenzer Pemberton Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? How am I to leave the jail when the prosecutor doesn't talk? How does this happen to an American citizen? Does it matter to you? Do I count? The answer is no. Does it matter to you? Do I count? The answer again is no. Documentation for the case of Christopher Child with Paul C. Metz from Pemberton Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? This, I believe, has never happened in the Monroe County District Attorney's Office with a defendant in any court in Monroe County. This 5'2", three-piece suit boy leaves his podium. I'm standing here in this Soviet Union show trial before bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzer. She's in front of me like this. I can see her side profile. I can see him at the table. He leaves his table, walks to her, gives her a piece of paper. I don't know what's on his piece of paper. King of New York, A #1 diva, Sandra Doorley. I don't know what this is. He walks back to the podium, stands there, nothing. Not one word, not one sound. Total silence. She declares me guilty. I'm in Livingston County. What's his name, Sandra Doorley? Why don't you call him in to your Jonestown and sit him down and ask him why he didn't talk? And the reason why he didn't talk is I didn't commit a crime. Paula Metzler, did it occur to you that he didn't talk? And if he didn't talk, what are you doing just declaring me guilty in your Soviet Union show trial? Because it's a Soviet Union show trial. And then what am I doing in Livingston County? How is that explained? Bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler, that I'm in Livingston County when I don't live in Livingston County. And the answer is one that you know, Todd Baxter. I would be attacked at Monroe County Jail by your employees. You refuse to comply with every single one. Lori and Albert Broccolo, Steve Desmond is your employee. Here's the guy in his tractor. Here's Steve Desmond. You're not cutting grass that day, Lori and Albert, because Steve Desmond, your civilian, worked with Shannon Meyer to get me to come out of the house. And when your employee is here, what do you think he's wearing on his head, Lori and Albert? When he's here at 7 o'clock in the morning on his tractor, what do you think he's wearing? Because the tractor's so loud. And my neighbors will attest to this too. The new way to cut grass. It's the freak show way of cutting grass, which sounds like an airplane landing. So, since no one owns this land, because this is not a documentation that proves land ownership. Are you following here? Is the bald head of Todd Baxter, is the criminal bald head of Todd Baxter, is the corrupt bald head of Todd Baxter paying attention? Fire Shannon Meyer. I come outside, I stay around here, I see nobody owns that land, I walk back in my house. How's that a crime? No one owns that land. That's not a crime. Even if land ownership can be established, that's still not a crime. This is not a documentation that proves land ownership. I've said this over and over and over, and you can look at it. That's it. How does anybody own that land? Walking through the parking lot, is that right? How ludicrous does that sound? I'm a defendant on a piece of paper walking through the parking lot. Are you following me, Todd Baxter? I'm walking through the parking lot for the 4,000th time. That the defendant on the above date approximately 1440 hours did not only enter, remain unlawfully on unprime premises 2041 Penfield, but walked through the parking lot being told by certified mail by police is not allowed on the property. Certified mail by police. This is such a lie. By police, where's the name? I didn't get anything by certified mail. No police told me anything. Walked through the parking lot. You're two of my neighbors. Shannon Meyer, go arrest him. Todd Baxter, go arrest him. There were fireworks at Housewell Park in 2018 and 2019. Before the fireworks, Penfield High School band students were walking through this parking lot. Why don't you arrest the Penfield High School band student, Todd Baxter? If it's a crime to walk through that parking lot, why didn't your bald head show up and arrest the Penfield High School band students? Why aren't you arresting my neighbors for walking through the parking lot? By walking through the parking lot. My neighbors walk through the parking lot. Arrest them. Tell Shannon Meyer to plant her $67,000 ass right here and arrest everybody walk through his parking lot. If it's a crime, it's not a crime. I'm the only American to be arrested for walking through the parking lot. There's someone today, every day, that's going to go down, leave Penfield Road, walk and go left and walk through that parking lot, or walk through Sanders Farm Drive, go right, walk through that parking lot, because they're going to Wegmans, Target, Cam's Pizza, and other businesses down there. Eyesight. And you know what they're thinking? Every single one of these individuals walk through this parking lot? That's not a crime, because that's not a crime. Yet, here on the accusatory instrument, it says, walk through the parking lot for me. Where's my 14th Amendment right to equal protection of laws? This is why you're a Jonestown joke. Lee LaRoe, pay attention. This is 36 minutes in. These are your blue gloves. This is not a search warrant. You bald-headed, wig-wearing parliamenter type this document that says search warrant. That is not a search warrant. This $91,000 disgusting criminal sick bankrupt hack, Lee LaRoe, gets in here after you handed this to her in your library courtroom. She contacted my landlords, and you lost your mind in here, Lee LaRoe, with a search warrant that's not a search warrant, and you exited with my Chromebook. Where's my Chromebook? You read my emails and you went to search history on my Chromebook. That's what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice, $91,000 Lee LaRoe. What's the reason to take my Chromebook? Did you, Lee LaRoe, enjoy reading the emails that I sent to my mom and dad? Did you, Lee LaRoe, enjoy reading the emails I sent to my roommate when I was in the 101st Airborne Division who lives in Seattle, Washington? Did you, Lee LaRoe, enjoy reading the emails I sent to my ex-girlfriend who lives in Washington, D.C.? Did you, Lee LaRoe, enjoy the emails that I sent to my former co-workers in Albany, New York? Because that's what you're doing. Did you, Lee LaRoe, enjoy reading on my Chromebook the search history for how I go to ESPN, the Drudge Report, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Daily News, the New York Post? Did you enjoy doing that? Did you enjoy the invasion of my life, you $91,000 nauseating sick hack? Why have I never heard Miranda versus Arizona, Todd Baxter? You're fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths descended on me. When this is not a crime, handcuffs go on. I'm taken to your jail. I'm handcuffed inside the jail. I'm inside the jail. I can't reach the urinal. I urinated on myself after I have not heard Miranda. How does that happen? Financial disclosure. Send me your financial disclosure statements is general language, and that's why you refuse to comply. I have not yet made a determination of the language I would use to update this. This is attached. Financial disclosure statement, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter for calendar year 2019. The date, February 24th, 21. My name, email address, phone number. Why aren't you psychopaths pound on the door? You're supposed to be here. It's YouTube's at 39 minutes. Why aren't you psychopaths here? Financial disclosure statement for District Attorney Sandra Doorley for calendar year 2019. Where is it? You pathetic party-switching diva. Do you have conflicts of interest for cases you preside over because of your personal finances? What's the answer to that question, Perry Duckles? Can you tell King of New York, A number one, $129,000 Perry Duckles that I'm demanding a financial disclosure, and I'm going to be demanding your financial disclosure too, Perry Duckles. I don't know yet about the employees because nobody elected you to anything. You could very well be protected, Perry. But your boss isn't. Your boss has to disclose. Send me documentation. It's attached. So you look at the address, the email, and you send it. It's that simple, Perry. Financial disclosure statement for Penfield Town Judge Paul C. Metzler for calendar year 2019. Where's your money, you bald-headed wig wearing cipher? Where is it? Now, one question from you as to why I'm in Penfield Town Court. Guilty. Every defendant in Penfield Town Court is adjudicated guilty by you, Paul C. Metzler, you, James P. Melly Jr., and sick John P. Lomenzo Jr., the pedophile protection racket for child rapist, Dan DeLouse the Dirt. All three of you, every defendant for all three of you is guilty. How is that explained to the United States Department of Justice? How's that criminality? How's that corruption? How is that possibly explained? It can't be explained. Financial disclosure statement for Penfield Town Judge James P. Melly Jr. for calendar year 2019. You, James P. Melly Jr., got together with Jessica Wagner, this hack that's no longer employed at the district attorney's office. This Jermaine Bemin snaps my head back in a violent act. I'm charged with harassment second, sitting in the backseat of the vehicle. Bemin has to appear in front of you, James P. Melly Jr., because there's a deal between the attorney for Jermaine Bemin, you, James P. Melly Jr., and Jessica Wagner at the district attorney's office to let this violent thug walk right out the door. I saw him at Wegmans. I'm leaving Wegmans. Here he comes walking in, and I let this guy have it. Coming out of Wegmans, he looked away. I'm amazed that when people descend on you, like this guy, and then when they're confronted about their aberrant behavior, suddenly they're in fear, which is what Bemin was. Because I screamed at him outside of Wegmans. I said, hello, Jermaine. So, anyway, Junior. This is what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice, James Melly Jr. You let this guy walk right out the door. I sit down. I got the subpoena, and your employee told me to leave because Jessica Wagner's in there with the attorney for Jermaine Bemin. Jermaine Bemin, this thug walks right out the door. Freedom of information law, name, charge, and sentence for every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Lomenzo Jr., James P. Melly Jr., and Paul C. Metzler. Where is it? You're going to send it to me. I want a list of cases for everyone. Every case for you, Paul C. Metzler. Every case for you, James P. Melly Jr., and every case for this sick, disgusting, vile hack, John P. Lomenzo Jr., child rapist protection racket for Daniel DeLouse III. So, he's afraid to open his mouth, John P. Lomenzo Jr. When I say Steve Desmond, Lori and Albert Cole, pay attention. Deb Bridges, lose your mind now, Deb. Lose your mind when I just described the facts. This is your employee, Steve Desmond. He doesn't want to open his mouth. Steve Desmond got with Shannon Meyer of your Broccolo Tree and Lawn Care to get me to come out of the house. He doesn't want to open his mouth because I'm telling him in this documentation that he refused to sign for, that this Shannon Meyer called him, said to him, tell us when this Chris Chichester comes out of his residence. Get him to come out of his residence, and we're going to descend on them. We'll be here immediately. And that's exactly what you did. And that's why he doesn't want to open this. How often does the bald head of Todd Baxter use a civilian in the concoction of a crime? Elliot Roth works at this building here, Consumer Insights. He says to me, you're going to be arrested. So this civilian says to me, you're going to be arrested. Elliot, open your mail. Did Shannon Meyer tell you I was going to be arrested? This civilian, Steve Desmond, is the one you used to come to my residence. Because this civilian, Neeraj Shah, is losing his mind, screaming at me. You're using these civilians in this concoction of a crime for me. This nauseating descent on my life by you, Todd Baxter. I guarantee the employees at the United States Department of Justice, when I contact the employees, they will say they've never seen anything like it. Neeraj Shah is not copied on this email. Do you know why, Paul C. Metzler? You know why. In this, he was sent. I'm telling him, you don't own this land. And since I'm telling him, you don't own this land, that means he doesn't own this land. Because this is not documentation that proves land ownership. No one owns this land. This is documentation that doesn't prove anything. And he's refusing to open his mail. What do you think about that, Shannon Meyer? If there is an employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office that never deserves to reach 20, it's you. Because I believe that you were younger than the other individuals. I believe you were younger than Don Benedetto, and you were younger than Andrew Reale. They're closer to 20, if in fact 20 is a lot of time to retire. How long have you been at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Do you know how to do the job, you pathetic, disgusting, sick hack? A warrant for my arrest for walking the parkway. That's why you're pathetic, disgusting, sick hack. So, coming to my house to demand my little guy. Why don't you just pick up the phone and call me? I've said this over and over and over. I adopted my little guy, Mom and Pop Farm Humane Society, my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley. And one of the questions we were asked, do you have a criminal record? Have you ever been arrested? And the response from Laura and from me is no. And as I sit here today, I have never committed a crime. So, this information in the Freedom of Information Law has been communicated to you, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Doorley. And you are going to refuse to comply with every single one because you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, are criminals. Liberty is the soul's right to breathe. My name is Christopher Chichester.